All right, everybody. This is the kind of new Cannondale Synapse. I think it was launched a few months ago. And I just been riding it across Scandinavia from Stockholm to Bergen, which is like 1100 kilometers. And yeah, today I'm gonna take you through the setup that I was running. And yeah, and also give you some initial thoughts on the bike. I think for this ride, the tires were like a big defining factor or like a concern, because we're gonna hit like a lot of different terrain, from super fast tarmac to like champagne gravel. And we were also expecting the chance of hitting like some short single track sections. And reality was that we kind of hit it all. So for kind of with that in mind, we tried to, or I tried to pick kind of the best tire for that, which I ended up going with the Continental Grand Prix 5000 ASTR, which is kind of the all-season version of the normal GP 5000 tire, which I've been riding a lot on the road. And this one is a 35 mil tire, so a bit more volume to help out a bit on the rougher surfaces, and also with the comfort, because we were doing this ride like as fast as possible, which ended up being 65, almost 66 hours, 1100k. So we were going to be a lot on the bike for a long, like extended period of time. So comfort was of course a big concern as well. And then also just some added confidence on the descents, because we're also going to do some yeah, I wouldn't say alpine descents, but like super fast descents. And when you haven't really slept for 2 nights and you have to do like a big descent, a little extra confidence doesn't hurt. So yeah, Conti GP 5000 ASTR 35 mil tires, and they are mounted on the reserve wheels, the 42-49. I think these are kind of like an all-road version, or almost like a gravel tire. It has like a super wide internal rim width. I think it's around 25 mil. But the width of the wheel is also a little different from the front to the rear, both internally and externally. So it's kind of optimized for being in the front and being in the back. And I would say the wheels, we were super happy with them, and they rolled like super smooth and was very, again, confident. I think overall the kind of entire, the overarching word for this bike setup would be confident, because I think you could really do it all on it. On some sections we're doing like a 40k on the flats on the road, and we also managed to get through a little bit of single track, and yeah, it kind of did it all. And the geometry of the frame itself, I've been riding the Super 6 before, which is a bit more racy and a bit more, I'd say, lively geometry wise. So this was just a bit more, I think relaxed is not the right word, but again, confident is the better word for it. Because I think it's still like super precise, and you can kind of just point it wherever you want it to go, but it just felt like it would hold the line a little easier, and wasn't as it wasn't as smooth, not smooth. It wasn't, I think this setup was just super smooth and confident, and kind of just, you just pointed it and you didn't really have to think that much. Where with the Super 6, I think it was kind of the same experience, but also slightly more like if you gave it a little bit of input, it would react a bit faster. Where this one is just a bit more like you would just put it and then it would just like go where you want it. It's the same with the Super 6, but this was just a bit more planted in that sense. And that's not in a bad way, especially when you haven't slept for 48 hours and you are going like 70k an hour down a descent. I'm running a 2x setup here. I think it's like a 46-33 in the front, and in the back I think it's 10-30. Actually, I haven't checked this. It's a 10-36 in the back, so a lot of range. I must say that at some point I would have almost preferred a 1x setup, just because it was a lot of rolling terrain, and I felt I was just using the front meg a lot to kind of go from into the gears that I wanted to be in. And yeah, again, when you haven't slept and then you think you're in the big ring, but you're in the small ring, and then you kind of just go into the big ring in the middle of a climb, and then you kind of have to go back. And it's just, I think 1x for like ultra stuff is, I don't know if it's better, but it's just more, you don't really have to think. It's just either you go into an easier gear or in a harder gear, where here you still have to think about like chain line and being in the big ring or small ring and all that stuff. Yeah, a few like other tweaks I did with the bike. Have a ceramic speed oversized pulley wheel system in the back, and a ceramic speed bottom bracket as well. And the chain, we used the new ceramic speed ultra wax, and that lasted for the entire ride. We didn't apply any extra loop on the chain for the entire ride, which was kind of crazy considering we went through rain. I was about to say snow. We didn't encounter that, thankfully, but a lot of different conditions, and the chain was quiet throughout. I could, like the first ride when I came back, just a little recovery spin, I could hear that the chain needed some fresh loop, but that was also after 1100k, and the last 4 hours we did in pissing down rain. So that was kind of like expected, I would say. What else? The saddle, I'm running the Silitalia SLR Boost. I was considering going with a 3D printed model, either of this or another model. I've been using the specialized power mirror before, and been pretty happy with that for ultra stuff. But this time I just been so happy with this saddle, so I thought I would rather maybe just skip the 3D stuff. Also read some people like, yeah, maybe it's too soft over really long distances. You actually want something that is a bit firmer. So you don't really expect, or you don't really get any like saddle sores or stuff like that. Because the other one might be too soft or collapse or stuff like that when you have been riding like for 30 hours straight almost. Yeah, what else is there to say? Yeah, of course, running tubeless setup. I was running around 50 psi, or like 49 in the front and 50 in the back. And for bottles, we're running the Cannondale like Aero bottle system. Should say it was maybe 2-3 watts. And yeah, I think that was worked out fine. And also you can still fit normal normal bottles in there as well. And up front, actually I took off we had like an Apidura top tube bag from the new Aero collection they did. And it's just super neat because you can open and close it with, it's like magnetic. So it's just, yeah, super convenient to get in and get your fueling. And I'm running a 100 ml stem and I swapped out the bars to a 36 SIP SL80 bar, which is quite a lot narrower than the stock one, which was like a 42. But for me, I just feel like I'm more comfortable on a narrower setup, and also just saves quite a bit of watts in terms of being more aero. Yeah, what else? We were running the Coros Dura GPS, and I was pretty satisfied with it, apart from it shutting down on me twice. Just rebooted out of like nowhere. And first I thought it had deleted my ride. It was like 400k in, so I was pretty pissed. And then it did again the next day. And I thought all the my GPS file was just gone. But somehow it's kind of appeared in my Strava when I looked it up when we arrived. So I managed to kind of stitch it all together and put together the so satisfying line across Scandinavia for this ride. And it was quite amazing. The battery life on this thing was 20% when we arrived in Bergen. And that was almost 66 hours of it being on continuously and riding for about 44 hours. Yeah, I think it still has a few quirks. Maybe I'm gonna do a separate video on this, like a review of this, because I think it has potential, but it still needs a little bit of polishing, mostly firmware or like software wise. Yeah, I don't know really what more to say. Like if we get into the really details, rotors are 160 mil SRAM rotors, and I think maybe I could have swapped them out for something like a 140 just to save a little bit of weight, but at the same time it was nice with the extra stopping power because we were going down some pretty gnarly descents on both like tarmac and gravel. Crank arms are actually, like, this bike came equipped with the Force group set, but I swapped out the crank arms to a pair of 160 red crank arms that I had laying around. So yeah, just because I've gotten used to riding 165 and really like it for longer stuff because it's just easy on the knees and the hips and everything. And also actually running a red rear derailleur because I wanted to run the ceramic speed oversized pulley system, and they do not have it for the new SRAM Force yet. So yeah, and I think, yeah, of course this bike, it also comes equipped with the SmartSense system, which is like updated from the previous SmartSense generation, which I think the previous generation was a little fiddly, to put it a nice way, where this one is just a lot more neatly integrated. Basically you have this hatch here, and yeah, of course you have space for your spares, and there's a little light that goes on when you open it. We'll take this off, which is pretty cool. And then yeah, you can just take out the battery. Let me just do this right. It's a little thing that is kind of stuck in mine. Like that. Yeah, so basically you can just take out the battery like this, and then this is the battery. It does weigh quite a bit. Maybe I should just actually weigh it real quick. Let's see. 300 grams. So it does. Yeah, so the battery does kind of add a little bit of weight to the bike, but at the same time it powers both the Garmin radar system at the back and the rear light, and this little front light here, which is like pretty powerful. At least it's enough for night riding. I was having like in the medium setting, and it was fine. And then I had like a headlamp on my helmet that I turned on when I needed some extra on a descent or something where you need a bit more like situational awareness or going into a turn or something like that. But overall, I'd say I've always been a little didn't really buy into the whole Garmin radar thing, because I was like, okay, the cars, they can't really it doesn't change anything for me if I was just running like a normal rear light compared to a radar system, because the cars, either they see me or they haven't. But I must say, when you have the radar on and you kind of, especially we were 2 guys riding, so when you're riding side by side chatting and then you kind of can see there's a car coming from behind, then you can just get into single file, and then kind of add a little bit of situational awareness, which is also great during these ultra efforts where the mind might be a little funky when you're gotten into it. So I think, is there any things like I would change or do different? I think the only thing that I might wanted to change was maybe doing like a 1x system with the Explorer 13-speed group set, just for the simplicity and not having to think about changing from the big ring to the small ring or vice versa. But I think the tires held up amazingly. I was really impressed with all the shit we rode through without any punctures. Like, we were 2 guys riding and went through some pretty gnarly gravel stuff, and at the same time they just were so fast on the road. And I even did like a little faster group ride thing when I got home. Probably pretty bad idea for recovery to do like a little smash fest 2 days after you did 1100k ride. But anyways, they just felt like a normal road tire. I didn't feel like they were holding me back. So yeah, I think wide is the future. And I think also the handlebar, even though it's quite narrow, it feels super comfortable. I think they have like these small things you can put in here, which kind of, because to set up the blips so you can change gears in the drops. But I kind of just took them out because it just hooked my thumbs more into the bar. So it was nice to have a bit extra like grip here when going on a descent or something like that. I think overall I feel like this bike was just made for this ride we're doing, which was just a mixed surface all road ride, but I think we did like 75% paved, so mostly paved with some gravel sections. It was just so damn smooth and fast and comfortable, and I think you could probably do it on a Super 6 with like 32 mil tires on, and you would probably get through. But I think you would just be so much more banged up in the body afterwards, where these tires on these rims measure almost 37 mil. So that just gives you a lot more volume and a lot more comfort to kind of take up some of the road chatter and all that stuff. Yeah. Emil, the guy I was riding with, he was on the lap 71 with the 13-speed Explorer group set. And so it was kind of interesting to see he was just like going through the gears as he would, where I was a bit, I wouldn't say struggling with the front mech, because like I think the front shifting now has gotten pretty good. Even on SRAM, I had some not so stellar experiences previously. I think the initial impression of the bike overall is I think this is kind of like the bike that every cyclist should have, although most people probably want the World Tour Super 6, like ride what the pros ride kind of thing. But I think it is as aero as the old Super 6. So it's maybe 5 watts slower at 45 k an hour, which is like half when you go down to like normal road riding speeds, let's say 35 k an hour. So it's maybe like 2.5 watts slower at those speeds. And I think, for most people, that doesn't really make a difference. And the fact that you can just put like wider tires on and do like all road stuff is just kind of, at least that's kind of the rides I want to do more of in the future, because you can just open up so much more terrain. And I just love riding like smooth gravel and basically just going wherever you want to, and having a bike that doesn't hold you back, either on like some gravel sections it feels fast and confident, and still on the road it still feels like you're flying. Overall super happy with the setup, and wouldn't really change anything. I think the only thing might be considering maybe a one-by setup, just out of simplicity, and when the brain gets funky, you don't really have to think about it. So I think that's it for this one, and it's gonna be the first video on my YouTube in a long time, and I think I'm gonna do a few more of these like gear videos, and also some more like riding stuff as well. It's not gonna be super cinematic or anything, it's just gonna be more explaining, talking about gear, talking about places to go and ride your bike, and maybe also do some more camera related stuff. So I think that's gonna be the future of this channel. So hit the subscribe button if you like bikes and you like cameras, or one of those things, and then I try to do a few more of these videos and just let you hear my thoughts on gear and stuff, and maybe we can also talk a bit about like planning adventures and stuff like that. So ciao.